Hey everybody, International Master Alex Banza here, and in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how to get a quick win with the white pieces against the most common openings that black has against 1e4. So please feel free to use the timestamps from the description, jump to whatever opening you need, and without further introduction, let's just dive right into the action. All right, everybody, looks like we're getting the white pieces and we're gonna be opening up with a king's pawn. And against e5, we're gonna be going for the trappy Vienna opening, expecting either knight c6 or knight f6. Against this move, I like going for bishop c4, and when they develop the king's knight, I like to go for f4, the so-called Vienna gambit. And here we're gonna be sticking with that and expecting a lot of them to play bishop c5, which actually does not seem to happen. We see knight f6, which is the main sort of theoretical line so far. Now they have a choice between a variety of moves. Bishop c5 is pretty common. In this position, they could also play bishop to b4 or knight a5. Those moves are equally good, with leading to decent positions for black from a theoretical perspective. Now, against bishop to c5, the whole point of this Vienna is that we haven't rushed to developing the g1 knight, so we can actually just play f4 and develop the knight to f3, try to get a bit of a head start when it comes to this kingside initiative that we're trying to go for. I'm gonna play knight f3, and now bishop to g4 is the most common move. That's like the main line, where the plan is to go for knight a4 and hunt that bishop. Castling is quite a typical move as well, very natural. But I think after f5, we should be getting a very dangerous initiative, simply creating a threat of bishop g5, followed by knight d5, I was about to say. Now, when this happens, you shouldn't really be afraid of it. As a rule of thumb, queen e2 is all good. No need to be afraid of knight f2 because of rook f1. Just so you know, whenever they do something like this, queen e2 is kind of reasonable. Now, just for, trying to find the best move, I'm actually considering whether it makes sense to play bishop g5 or not. Which, I'm pretty sure most likely it does. And I think I'm gonna go for this, guys. I think this has potential to end up being very instructive. I think opponent now cannot play f6 because of the pin. So he's very likely to play either queen e8 or queen d7. And then I think knight d5 is a strong move, which is inviting him to play knight f2. I'm gonna go queen d2. He's gonna pick up the rook. Then knight f6 check is a very interesting idea. Now, this is even safer because we also have a threat of going for the fork. But my whole idea is to play queen d2, and when they take the rook, I think knight f6 looks like, yeah, it's picking up the queen, but mainly just putting the enemy king in a pretty deadly mating net. So I see no way for him to defend against the queen g5 idea, and that is such a common theme for the Vienna opening that you really want to get in your brain, because you could just get so many free wins. I mean, just look at this. We get a fake mate in 13 moves. I mean, tell me, when is the last time you got that from like the Joko Piano or the Rui Lopez? That simply doesn't happen. And this is why you want to pick up the Vienna opening into your repertoire. Now, to actually check whether any of this made any sense, well, I believe F5 is the main recommendation in my chessable course on the Vienna. And here, as I told you, queen e2 is always playable. Yeah, just like a +1. Just, knight f2, rook f1, we don't care. Also, if they check, that's not an issue. King f1, king d1, something like that. And then h3 is a huge threat. So if they go back, I mean, we don't really care. You can play h3 a lot of the times and just get a normal game like bishop g5, knight d5, this kind of stuff. But of course, usually when you play, you want to have this kind of template moves, like queen e2 was in this position, as I said. But you also just want to have a quick look on whether there's anything more tempting. That's like the right way to think about it. And that's how I came up with this bishop g5 move, because I noticed wherever they go, I will have this motive of going for knight f6 check. And I noticed that the enemy king is in a mating net. If they sidestep, we simply cash in the queen with a winning position. So On pawn takes, just take it with a bishop, and he literally has no way to defend against both queen g5 and queen h6 with a deadly setup to get a checkmate on g7. So yeah, I think with that being said, I think we can move on to the next game. All right. Looks like we're getting the white pieces against someone that's rated over 1,000. And looks to be playing the Caro-Kann. So by the way, guys, just to give you a bit of an insight, the guys that are 1,000 in Blitz, that's usually equivalent to like 1,400 in Rapid, because that's how the chess.com ratings work. And believe it or not, I'm gonna be showing you how to beat the Caro-Kann in less than 10 moves, because there's actually a very interesting and trappy line that you can go for against the Caro-Kann, and that is to simply play this kind of innocent looking d3 move. Letting black to take, which they, well, most of the times, thinking we're gonna take back and go queen d1, king d1, play that endgame. That is actually a very interesting topical line that they play at the top level nowadays. But the trappy part comes when you don't do that and you just go for knight g5. And a lot of your opponents are gonna be like, oh, free pawn on d3, let me take that. Or at least that's what we hope. Hopefully that's gonna happen, because this guy, I swear, it's not a paid actor. So I'm just kind of hoping we get to see the trap. And when you get to this position, it's like 80% gonna be just a free win, because we take with the bishop and they will either play e6, knight f6, or h6. All of these moves are just losing on the spot to a very nice little trap that is just like making it not even fair when you're facing the Caro-Kann below 1500. You could try this, and I think it just has an insane winning rate. So yeah, now see, knight f6 just losing on the spot. The only moves that are kind of reasonable for black would be like knight d7 or queen c7, because knight f6 simply fails to this knight f7 idea. Just going for a pretty deadly fork, and when that happens, he kind of has to take the knight. If they go queen a5 check, we simply block with a bishop, and then the queen has to move and we pick up the rook. So he's pretty much gonna be taking the knight, and then we have a very deadly discovery with the bishop. So important not to go there because of knight d5, but to play the move bishop g6. So after this happens, the enemy king is in check, the queen remains undefended, and that's how you win against the Caro in 7 moves, literally. I mean, here you have it, it's proof. That happens literally every single time, I swear. So we just pick up the queen, and okay, still, you want to be focused until we win this game. I literally, once you get into this position, I want you to treat it, if you don't win, as you would die in real life. It's super important. You want to stay ultra focused, because it would be a big pity to miss such a winning position. And yeah, I would better do that by winning it myself first. I think we'll just try to finish development. Another thing would be to try to bring my queen back. So I'll just do that to make sure my queen won't get into any weird trouble. So just going queen a5, so the queen can easily come back into the game. And then we just want to finish development. Now, if we do the material count, black actually has 2 minor pieces for the queen, which is a little bit of material. Definitely things could still go wrong if you are not like paying attention and you're like multitasking here. But yeah, as long as you just try to keep it simple, not blunder anything while offering a lot of trades, usually the extra queen should start to tell at some point. I'm just gonna go knight c3, try to get myself developed. Bishop e3 probably will be the next move, and okay, let's see what black does. b6 again, just need to not blunder the queen. Gonna sidestep while gaining a tempo, hitting the c6 pawn, and in case of b5, I think I can throw in a check on b3. That is probably quite likely to happen. Maybe knight c5 is an interesting try for my opponent, but still I think we can just grab on c6 and bishop b7. There should be queen c7 check. I'll show you that in the post-game analysis. He simply defends. I'm just gonna try to get developed, perhaps even long castle, so we get to place our rook onto the open file. And I think that's starting to look pretty juicy for us. b5, same idea, just check. And in case of knight c5, probably we can even take it. I haven't decided just yet, but taking can't really be a bad move. Maybe just queen c4 perhaps look even more annoying for him because he doesn't really have an easy way to hide the king, which is something that I just noticed. So, okay, I've got 4:20 on the clock. Just for those of you that noticed, and I'm definitely looking forward to just get my pieces involved. It's pretty tough to play this position as black since, yeah, whatever he does, I think I'm gonna hit him with queen c4 check. Actually, I'm gonna castle now, creating a threat of rook takes on d7, which is pretty, yeah, pretty hard to deal with. I'm definitely looking forward to trade one rook for two minor pieces because that's a positive trade for us. And yeah, besides that, we still keep this idea of going for queen c4 check, followed by, yeah, maybe the knight could try to come into the game, like b5, d6, maybe b5, c7. So then it's covering e6 square, and we can like swing the queen over. That could be a pretty interesting idea to play for checkmate. So let's see, expecting him to play a move like rook d8, but the biggest drawback with that, I think, is just queen a7, and we start chipping away his queen side. So black's position is definitely becoming more and more critical. Let's see. If he plays king e7, that may be sort of a defensive try, but just a move like rook e1, placing the rooks onto the central file should definitely be a step into the right direction there. So, yeah. It just takes the pawn on g2, but as I was saying, that doesn't really stop my threat of rook takes on d7 with check, important, and I'm not afraid of anything like king e6 or that, because we get to take, and we still end up with a positive trade. And then on the very next move, if we want, we can save our rook with a move like rook g1. In case of king g8, probably we're just gonna be playing rook to g1, and yeah, bishop e7, same thing. No need to do anything strange, just keep it very simple. Yeah, just gonna do that. Hit the bishop. Taking feels definitely very risky for him. I think we should probably be able to find some kind of a quick win there. Probably the easiest will be just rook takes on g2. Pretty funny trick. Hopefully we get to show that on the board. Because he doesn't really have that many squares for the bishop, and the whole idea behind this little rook takes on g2 sack is that we're going to be using a bit of a geometrical motive, because we're going to have this queen d5 idea, and then we're just like kind of creating this little triangle. My math teacher would be proud watching me doing this video now. So probably not, but yeah, that just forces resignation, and we do manage to get, I think, a pretty smooth win with us. So as I was saying, just to make it clear in your memory, we start with the knight. You could also start with d3, but this is usually how I like to do it, and then play d3 with the idea that after de you play knight g5. Now, according to the statistics, most of the times they will take. In case they do something like knight f6, you could still try to get in the trap after knight c3, and they would normally take, and you can get in similar motives with knight f7. And when they do, simply go for something like this. As long as they don't find knight d7 or queen c7, you're gonna have simply knight f6 against basically all of this random moves. So like h6, you just take, do the same thing, pick up the queen. And in case they play something like e6, here taking on f7 does not really work that well, because if you go for bishop to g6, black will have an additional move of going king to e7. But I would say, besides the fact that you can go for knight takes on h7, I would say even simpler is to do something like knight c3, queen e2, bishop d2, long castle, and just play for compensation, because the enemy bishop is locked inside the pawn chain. So yeah, I think that should pretty much be it for this trap. Then the rest is just a pretty simple win after this, as I was saying. If they go queen a5, nothing to be afraid of. That is simply bishop d2, and black does not have any more checks because the knight covers that. And we can just pick up the rook on the very next move. So with that being said, I think we can just move on to the following game. Okay, everybody, looks like we're getting ourselves some nice white pieces, and as a true alpha male, I'm just gonna be sticking with a king's pawn and hopefully get a pretty nice and interesting Vienna, since I've noticed you guys really like this opening for some reason. I don't know. You let me know in the comments why, and hopefully we can get to play a pretty instructive game when we already get a bit of a weird opening with this early bishop c5 kind of stuff, where I know for a fact f4 is the move that I recommend in my chessable course on the Vienna, and the main idea is that bishop takes on g1 is not really a problem, or at least I hope that my memory serves me well. Most likely not, because of some variations that you don't need to be worried about, okay? Why would you care if they don't play it? Okay, just kidding. That's a line, but perhaps I'll get to show it in the analysis tab, so maybe you can stick until that part. I mean, I may very well forget and not show it, and you will feel betrayed. So, just a disclaimer for that. Now, after pawn takes, there's a pretty huge threat of queen h4, which I find out that a lot of people tend to underestimate and forget about, which is really getting them in trouble. So you don't want to do that, and just play the move knight f3. Well, what is knight f3 doing? Just not getting mated. Okay, knight f3. Next part of our ingenious plan is to just go d4 and get like a king's gambit version, but this time it's actually good. So get to set up the very nice pawn center, and then I'm ready to collect this pawn on f4 while also having a bit of a lead in development. So what else can you guys wish from life? I mean, sure, you answer maybe you want the Bugatti, but you have to wait for that a little bit, okay? It's hard to get a Bugatti with a Vienna opening. You have to play the London system for that, as you already know. So I don't know what you are still doing into this video. And anyways, I gave you the key. You do what you want with that. So I'm just going to try to actually think about this game for a second. And how do we actually deal with these bishops? And by the way, super common beginner thing. Look at their bishop. It's like this. Like their bishop is like judo. Okay, there's like, let me fight you. But these are not good bishops, because most likely he's just going to give them away for the knights, and we're just going to have the bishop pair for free. I know you guys may be wondering, okay, Alex, we get the bishop pair, but you know we're gonna get forked all the time. Well, that's on you. You gotta get forked enough times until you cry enough, and you're not gonna get forked. It's part of the process. You gotta go with it. So, h3, bishop h5. Now, what am I even supposed to do? Should I play g4? I don't know. You guys tell me. I feel like that's a bit weakening. On the other hand, bishop c4 is a move which I think I may stick with. It's involving a pawn sacrifice after knight f6 castle, bishop takes followed by knight e4. Guys, you shouldn't try this at home. Be very careful. Disclaimer here, this may get pretty violent in the near future. So, I don't know. You guys have any like kids or cats watching? By the way, somebody sent me an Instagram story with the cat watching my content. So that was like the ultimate kind of compliment that I could get. So if you guys have any cute pets watching the videos, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. That is very nice. So okay, 94. Now actually time to think. But the good news is the solution may be simpler than you may expect it to be. Okay, feel free to pause the video, get your cat, and try to find the best move for white, because I know what you guys may be thinking too. Oh, it's gotta be rook e1, sure. We gotta pin that knight. That has to be a win. No, that's not a move, actually. I know. Sorry to impersonate you like that. That's how I usually hear myself talking, analyzing the games, if I ever do that. So, okay. Why isn't rook e1? You may be wondering. It looks like such a natural move and all that. But you have to think, okay, he plays d5. What next? Okay, just what next? There's no like a follow-up. If it's not like a follow-up, you drop the move. Even though it looks tempting. Okay, guys, you see a hot chick. I know you may want to like, you know, introduce yourself and this kind of thing. But I mean, you just gotta know like what's your level, okay? You always approach what you can get, okay? You gotta be like realistic, okay? I see, oh, this rook on move is a hot chick, but it's way out of my league. I'm not gonna go for that because it's d5 and it's not good. Then I'm gonna be like, maybe there's like a bishop d5 idea, hitting e4 and b7. That's kind of an average chick. That one I can get for sure. Maybe. I mean, probably 1 out of 10, I can get one of these. So that's maybe more interesting. And that's how you come up with the best move. So bishop d5, creating a double attack. Now, opponent may be going like knight takes on c3, trying to look like a genius. Yeah, hitting double attack. That's actually pretty good move, and you may be tempted to think, I bet you haven't seen that one, right? Well, in the first instance, no. But then I thought about like the hot chick again, and I came up with the idea that there is queen e1. So that is actually going to be picking up the knight. I'm going to show you on the board, hopefully. Probably not. Let's see. What is this guy gonna play? Yeah, he goes, and now we're back here. We actually get both of them. That's crazy. That's like a best day of my life. We get to use both the queen e1 idea and bishop to d5. That is absolutely insane. I'm like really surprised with how this interaction has gone so far. And I'm just gonna be picking up this knight now. Before you actually pick up that knight, you should also be considering, oh, but maybe there's like a third cheek on b7 that you can go after. That's like how real players think about it. And that's hitting the rook and also keeping the knight under attack. So maybe that should be something to go for. But, you know, if you're running after like too many rabbits, you may catch none of them. So I'm just going to play queen c3 here. Just time to slow down a little and cash in, guys. You need to know when to stop playing, okay? That's a really important skill. You may be, you know, like getting a little bit lost with all these nice things that are happening with you and all that kind of stuff. But you need a good friend to tell you, dude, you gotta slow down a little. And that's what we're trying to do here. We got our free piece, won the jackpot. Now just gotta actually slow down and try to win this game. So gonna keep my pieces. And you know what we do next? We usually try to exchange queens. So I'm gonna start with this move. Going queen b4, check. Hitting b7 as well. So maybe that's gonna make him think queen e7 is a good move, which was a blunder. You can actually pause the video, try to find out why this was a blunder. And the reason is because it's simply bishop d6. And the bishop does not move like a knight. Last time I checked, not in this patch at least, but there is bishop d6. So he goes king g8. Now I can just grab a pawn, go for a little bite on b7, you know, saying hello to this rook. Now he could play the move knight d7. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Probably just go knight e5 and try to exchange knights. Just keeping it very simple. Hopefully, yeah. This seems like a pretty tough game to slip away from your hands, but that's always whenever you say that, the chances of slipping the game away have just doubled. So congrats for that. Knight to e5. Just looking forward to trade more pieces. Hitting this, expecting takes. I'm gonna take back with a bishop, and okay, looking forward to play that position. What can I say? Running out of words. You guys think I'm like a machine. I'm supposed to talk non-stop. That's not a thing. Alex is not a machine. I think by now you noticed I don't play nowhere near as a machine. So, taking with a bishop. Stopping rook b8, just saying he may play that because usually they start blundering when they are under pressure. He may play f6 as well, where I wish there was like a fun trick to win with. Probably c4 is like a nice little tactic to open up the position, which I think I will try just because I think it's kind of instructive. I don't know whether you guys feel this is an instructive video at all or like simply a total clown fiesta. I mean, I'm happy with both as long as you manage to listen to me for longer than 5 seconds. So now, bishop to e2 hitting the rook. What are we supposed to even do? I guess just take this rating because opponent just resigned. So The main reason why he resigned is not because I was about to move the rook, but because there was a queen takes on f7 move in the air. So now, before that, I just wanted to mention, I don't even know what I wanted to mention really. Just wanted to go over this game a little bit. He somehow took the bait on e4 and I found this bishop to d5 move. Kind of lucky with this find. I wasn't like actually, you know, guys, like just to give you a little bit of an insight of what was going on in my mind. I wasn't playing bishop c4 and already picturing this bishop d5 position in my head. No, that's not it. I was just like bishop c4 and oh, that looks like a good square for the bishop. I was kind of seeing that e4 is vulnerable, but I said to myself, okay, I mean, they play like this. We gotta have something here. I don't know what, but there should be something interesting. By the way, funny trap here. Computer finds this idea, queen b1. If you play b6, there is queen b5 check, like the most hilarious bishop check I've ever seen. But bishop d5, it's top line, as you can see, and then queen e1. Very juicy little trick. Winning the piece, and oh, the computer goes for like bishop takes on f7. Oh my goodness, just imagine Gotham chess saying bishop takes on f7 here. That would have been so much better. And then bishop takes on d6. What on earth is this? Why can't I see these moves, guys? Oh my god, that's why I quit chess. Oh my god. And then you just like win everything on f7. That would have been the craziest thing. Okay, guys, genuinely, if somebody sees me playing like this, even I would suspect myself for using anal beads for this. If I take on f7 and then I sacrifice what bishop takes on d6, just giving away 2 pieces for absolutely no reason and then taking on f7, that would have been like absolutely nuts. Anyways, of course, I went with the... Let's slow down a bit, boys. We had enough fun. Let's slow down a bit. Okay, let's calm down. Just bishop to b3 and keep it simple. No need to find these kind of fancy moves. And yeah, I just wanted to highlight the idea that I was going over in the end. I was thinking c4 should be pretty interesting, with idea that if he takes, I'm gonna open up this bishop, and I thought it's pretty hard for enemy king to hide. For a fact, if he tries this, there is simply bishop c2, and he really has a hard time hiding. Like there is e4 move, bishop g6, but I bet you haven't seen the move queen d1 coming, and he's gonna be getting checkmated pretty soon. How is that happening? Fun fact, you can actually just zigzag. Wow, guys, chess is hard. I haven't actually seen that, but this is absolute beauty in this game. And what is even more beautiful about it is that we can make content with it, even though it was not my game. How crazy, I know. So, all right, I think with that being said, we can just move on to the next game. Looks like we're getting the white pieces against worthy 900 rated opponent, who is actually seems to be playing the modern defense, which is definitely interesting. And the main issue with the modern defense and with this kind of like secondary openings is that they're not really playing into the center. And that's usually how I start my speech and then I lose. But let's see how this will go. So we get the center. Opponent pre-moving already, first 2 moves. This is kind of odd, but it's not really gonna affect the way I play. At least I try to keep saying that in my mind. And okay, this looks either like a modern or a Pirc defense. What is the difference? You don't really need to know, but just because I'm nice. In the modern defense, they delay developing these knights, so you don't get any sexy queen d2 quick bishop h6 stuff. And in the Pirc, they just play knight f6, inviting you to checkmate them. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go knight c3 and probably gonna be playing with f4 against both. So, with their last move, we're actually heading towards the Pirc defense, where in my chessable course, I recommend the move f4, just going for principal play and trying to take down the Pirc in style, you know, by the book with the Austrian attack, which is definitely, I think, one of the best ways that we can play against. But just because I like you guys and you've been supporting me continuously, I'm gonna show you a hidden line, okay? This is top secret. If you're playing this, you're just gonna win in less than 10 moves, proven by science. So let's see. Okay, you may be wondering, dude, what the heck is going on? Are you just trying to play like mind games with us and play like a London system with a bishop on f4? What is going on? So the actual trick about it is that, well, there's nothing wrong with queen d2, long castle, play the standard bishop h6 type of lines, but there's like one trappy line that is very likely to make your opponents go nuts by playing e5. And chances are they will take twice and enter the endgame. And I swear, this guy is not like a paid actor. So expecting him to take on d1, and this position is already very difficult for black. Gonna take with the rook. And by the way, in the post-game analysis, stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be showing you how black is supposed to react against this, not to get a losing position. So, okay, knight is under attack. They've got like 3 main moves: knight there, knight h5, and knight to g4. Now I'm gonna be predicting rook to d8 checkmate, because this has already happened so many times, and the key move that you wanna remember in this position is also having to do a little bit with how you wanna see this type of moments where your opponent is attacking one of your pieces. So usually what most people would do here, they'll be like, oh, he's attacking my bishop, let me get the heck out of there. Instead of thinking of it as, okay, he attacked my bishop, first things first, let's see if we can make a stronger threat. Then second of all, you should be thinking, all right, maybe I can make a similar threat. And only the last option is to retreat the piece. So try to keep that in mind while your opponent is attacking your pieces. And here I'm going to go for the first option, making a stronger threat by attacking the c7 square. Now you can actually do that in 2 ways, either knight d5 or knight b5. And you can go ahead and try to pause the video, find, I mean, there's nothing to find, but think about which one is better and why. Or maybe they are the same. So the answer to that question is knight d5 is actually much better, because if they go knight a6 trying to defend this, the bishop is still open so we can take, which was not the case if the knight was placed on b5. It would have been blocking the bishop from taking it. And now they're going to take the bishop because what to do, and we're going to take on c7 with a checkmate on d8 like I predicted earlier in the game. I mean, hopefully, maybe this guy is like a genius in castles, but we'll see. If they castle, the line goes like knight takes on e7, I believe. I think it's pretty risky to go for knight takes on c7 in that position. I'm kind of struggling to remember that, but it's okay, guys. I mean, don't expect me to know everything, yeah? I mean, I can make it past move 8, but when you're onto this channel, you should already by default kind of lower your expectations. So in case my video got recommended to you while you're watching Dania or other content creators, please make sure to lower the expectations so we're on the same page. Okay, let's see what black is having in mind. He seems to be in a very difficult position, or he's simply alt-tabbed because I had a 1 minute long rant about what you should be doing when somebody's attacking your pieces. I bet you already forgot, but make sure to rewatch that. So yeah, either that or he's just trying to find a way to defend, and this is still gonna result into like the same checkmate. So here is why it's so important to go knight d5 and not knight b5, because if the knight was on b5, he could do this, and bishop would have been blocked by our own knight on b5. I'm not sure if you can visualize it, but here knight is blocking bishop. I don't know how to make it more obvious than that. So here we go, bishop takes on a6. And what that is accomplishing, we're just getting rid of the main defender of the c7 square. We're able to take with a knight, giving a check. He's going to be like, oh, damn it, I lost my rook. But we actually don't even take it because there is a checkmate in 1, since the bishop is blocking the main escaping square. So we just get a checkmate in 11 moves. And I swear, I started recommending this to my students. They get a win against the King's Indian every single time. You could do it as an e4 player, and you know, if you're facing the Pirc or as somebody that's playing d4 and they're going for King's Indian, you could do this as well. So what's there to learn? Okay, I promised you that I'll show the refutation of this. There is not really such thing as a refutation, but they could be playing the move knight h5, which is known to be a little bit better. And here I like to go for the move bishop to d2. we're sacrificing a pawn, and then the idea is to go queen e2, hitting the bishop, threatening to castle, and they go like g4, h4. We're down a pawn. That's like chess.com engine says it's like -0.7. It's actually like -0.203 on Lila, so very close to even. I feel like White has very decent compensation here, and for the insane amount of success that you can get with this line against players that are below 1700, I think it's totally worth it to get into a position where maybe you're down a pawn, but you get interesting play, or you just get a completely crashing attack like I got in the game. And just for the record, for him it would have been a bit better to castle, and then I couldn't really recall whether it's better to start with this or with knight takes on e7. I think I was about to do something like this, and then bishop e3. Remember looking at this, and usually my theory stops on bishop c4 in this position. Now it's actually knight f3 first, and then bishop c4. Yeah, I remember checking this, and the check is not that important. You can just play king e2 somehow, and like keeps the initiative in this position. Bear in mind that this happens if black finds the absolute best moves against our play, and we're still having like a pretty solid edge. We could continue with something like knight g5 and literally take on f7 with a knight. So most often you will get scenarios like what happened in the game where they play knight a6, so you can take. Really important, guys. Yeah, maybe repeating myself. Just want to make sure you understand that this wouldn't be as good because black is simply better after knight a6. Now the bishop is actually blocked by the knight on b5, so super important right there. Also, you can think about it like this. Knight is safer because it's also covering the bishop, but you really want to think of it as the counter attacking move. So yeah, if they take, that is the checkmate that I predicted, and that happened in over like 12,000 games according to the Leech's database. So it's just an insane high win rate for White while playing these variations. So yeah, hopefully with that you get a nice little line to play against the King's Indian. So with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright everybody, getting another white game, and this time facing somebody that's rated almost 1100, and it's actually playing the Sicilian Defense. So I'm gonna be showing you one of the trappiest lines that you could possibly do against the Sicilian, and that is the Smith Mora. Just sacrificing a pawn. Hopefully he's gonna accept, which most likely they will, at least below 2000. Honestly, my only kind of issue with the Smith Mora is that not when they accept, but when they force you play like an Alapin by going knight f6, which is not something that you should be afraid of. And the nice thing about the Smith Mora is that it's so easy to play. You could literally do the same setup against anything that they do. So you just take with a knight, and now we play knight f3, bishop c4, castle, queen e2, rook d1. This bishop goes to f4. This rook to c1. If b5, we play bishop b3, and if b4, we usually can look for ways to sacrifice the knight on d5. That is literally all you need to know in the Smith Mora, and you're most likely gonna get a winning position. Now, let's actually test this. Let's see if it's that simple. And by the way, I can even go for like a trappy idea, trying to force him play b5, which is a blunder. Just because he played a6, it kind of indicates that he may be interested to play b5. So yeah, he actually plays e6. Spotting the trap that I had. If b5, I wanted to take and go queen d5, pick up the rook from the corner. That's all good because we would have played bishop c4 anyways, as I mentioned. And yeah, just castling, queen e2, rook d1. So no secret behind that. After you play rook d1, there's gonna be a huge threat of e5 because we have pressure on the d file. So yeah, just right now, this becomes a pretty huge threat, which black has to pay attention to. They would normally play queen c7 side stepping, but that's still not solving all of black's issues because the queen is still somewhat vulnerable on that square after bishop f4 and rook ac1. Honestly, a lot of your opponents will not spot this idea and just allow e5, and already on move 10, I think black is under like a lot of trouble because e5 and there's simply not like an easy way to deal with this annoying pin. I mean, he could be playing the move knight g4, but then e d6, bishop d6, and I feel like bishop f4 should be quite strong. He's gonna be forced to play e5, but I mean, opening up the position with the king in the middle clearly is not what the doctor ordered, just to put it mildly. But we'll see what opponent does. Already, yeah, I think white is getting a pretty deadly initiative. Plays knight d7 instead. We can go for e takes d6, hitting the bishop, and besides that, we also have ideas to sacrifice on e6, which is interesting. It's definitely not a must, but it's something that you want to be considering. So he's most likely playing bishop f6, and I really want to do this. There is also a simple move to play knight d5, centralizing and threatening to infiltrate. Which one is better? I feel like if we take, I'm trying to see if there is follow-up on king to f8. I don't really see like an easy follow-up there, because knight g5 he just takes with the bishop. So we perhaps have to stick with a simpler move, like knight d5. He castles and then maybe just play knight c7, expecting rook b8, and then maybe could be a knight takes on e6 idea, or like a bishop takes on e6, or maybe just we don't have to sacrifice anything like at all, just start playing normal moves, improving our pieces. That also cannot be such a bad idea either. No, actually something funny that just crossed my mind is knight e4 castles, and then maybe simply playing g4, trying to perhaps trap that bishop. I think we're just like overthinking a bit too much here, and I should just make a move and keep it simple. So we'll just develop like a normal human being, and yeah, we just have a much better position because black is struggling to finish development. So gonna go like rook a c1, and on b5 I think I'm just perhaps gonna switch the diagonal so we keep an eye against the enemy king. I think that's pretty good. If e5 gets played, we simply slide back to g3, and they have weakened the d5 square. So yeah, let's see. I think for him, honestly, like the sort of only move would be b5. Still kind of interesting to sacrifice, but I don't think it's really worth it because of like even maybe rook e8 as a move there. Although bishop f7, I don't know. I just feels like bishop e6 is a bit too much, and I think we're just gonna play bishop d3. He's gonna play bishop b7, and then maybe we just play something like knight e4. Oh, knight a5, which is even a worse move because it's placing the knight on the rim. Just gonna do the same, having an eye on the h7 pawn. And just look at our pieces, guys. How easy of development you get in the Smith-Morra. So, not sure if you noticed, but I developed all the pieces just like I said in the introduction. Here, I told you how we develop. We got exactly this position, and we're just like so much better. And you have to know nothing. That's the nice part about it. Plays b5. Rook is a bit vulnerable. I could do bishop e4, sort of forcing bishop b7. Alternative is knight e4. B4 could be a move sometimes. Which one is better? Oh, I think there's actually a pretty easy little trick. Hitting the rook and then, oh no, my checkmate. B5 was actually just a huge blunder, and see how important it was to switch the diagonal, because the bishop was no longer having a lot of prospects with the pawn on e6, and we actually just managed to get a checkmate in 16 moves. So that is simply how powerful the Smith-Morra is. And if you're struggling against the Sicilian, and if you're like, let's say, below 1500 or maybe even 1800, I think the Smith-Morra can be a great choice for you. It is one of the starting openings that I used as a kid. And don't think about it as if I played that when I was young, you should be playing it too, because I was playing a lot of trash when I was a kid, since compared to like other players, I used to really suck as a kid. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, you see all these content creators explaining their stories, saying, "Oh, I was like second in the country at age 8," or stuff like that. I mean, I didn't even know what chess was at age 8. I like started around 10, and I won like my first national medal at like 13, 14, which is like very old. So yeah, just don't copy what I did, but the Smith mode I think is one of the very few openings that was actually decent when I was a kid. So scored a lot with it, very easy to play, and with like so many resources out there nowadays, it's super easy to learn. So yeah, with that being said, I think we can move on to the not yet. Just wanted to show that on the board. If you would have played b5, the hidden trick was to take and then fork, win the rook. So with that being said, we can actually move on to the following game.